welcome to episode 10 of Between Cast Fishing Podcast. Super excited for our guest today. We have Jamie Samatis of Samatis Baits, a company out of New Hampshire. Known him for a long time, honestly, since I was a little kid. So super cool to have him on. And we're just going to run through what he's been doing for the past bit here. Do we have anything to report for the good of the order?
No, man. I'm following the Elite Series on the Arkansas River. That's pretty cool. But other than that, it's just working. Pretty excited to talk about what Jamie's got coming down the pike here.
Cool. Awesome. We will get right into it then. Jamie, give you the floor.
So, anyone that doesn't know me, Jamie Samatis, Samatis Baits. We've been around. Well, I started making baits, I think, long before it was a company. So, just messing around, hand pouring things. I would say like 20, I don't know, 2008, 2009. And then I think it was 2016, I kind of made like a real business. Um, when I first started out, it wasn't like it is now. Now every Facebook post is, Bob's Baits, and everyone has everything. And there was like probably a handful of mold makers. Um, I used to go on forums to try to figure things out, talking to people, and like those are all dead now. Now they're all just Facebook pages. So when I started out, it was a much different time. Um, the very first mold I ever owned was like a plastic, cheap, like do it at home mold. They're like wicked dangerous. And it comes with a little plunger, and I'm like, I'm gonna try to make a Senko. Like I spend so much money on these things, I'm probably could just make one. It's probably super easy. So I went and found this shitty little kit. My wife was working at the time. We didn't have any kids, and I was just home alone. So I decided to take the little starter kit, and I cooked it in our microwave in our house like
Oh
an
no.
absolute dummy. And then I get it out. It's smoking. Everything's going on. It literally is a plastic mold with like this cheap little C clamp that goes on there. I'm just pushing on it. I have no gloves. Plastic shoot. I'm like burnt everywhere. I'm like, holy crap! Like this is awful. And the baits were terrible. Nothing looked good. The whole house was smoked out. I don't think I ever told my wife that I did that. I just like aired out the house all night and was hoping she didn't find out. Um, but then from there, I was like, hey, this is kind of cool. I started dabbling and just tinkering and figuring out mixes and all this stuff. Moved on to some hand poured molds and like silicone stuff and little finesse baits. And then I started getting more into like the aluminum hand pour stuff. But then I was kind of spinning my wheels. I fished a bunch of like, small clubs and things like that. And guys liked some of the stuff I made, so they wanted some. And then another guy wanted some. And then I found myself that like I was out in my garage spending more time making these things than I was actually like out enjoying fishing. Like I did it just to make them to fish. And now like I was at a point where like I wasn't even really fishing as much. And I'm like, well, this kind of sucks because it's like I don't want to just sit here and make these and not be able to fish. Um, so then in 2016, I had an idea, and a guy that I know that's still in the world of making molds. He makes a lot of molds for like real big companies and things. And um, I was like, hey, I'm thinking about getting like a big machine. And he's just like, well, I know a guy. And so we went back and forth, and I got my first machine, and he made me two production molds. And I was kind of like, just risk it. Like it wasn't cheap. And my wife's like, what are you doing?
Been
um,
there.
yeah. And she's just like, whatever, I trust you. And so I ended up going down to Georgia, testing the machine, got a couple molds made, tested those, met some cool guys down there. Actually, the day I was down there testing the mold for the Samata shot, the little finesse drop shot bait we make, which is based off of the Jackal Crosstail Shad. It looks similar. Like I liked fishing those, and I was like, I want to make something similar. So while I was there, getting that mold and testing it, the guy that I bought the machine off is actually friends with Kota Kiriyama, and he was the one who like he made that bait.
No kidding.
So he
That's
rolled
cool.
into the shop like while we're doing this. So I'm like, oh,
Come on.
like like I wasn't ripping it off directly, but it's very similar. And he was like, no, that's cool. Like he was like very cool about it. Super nice guy. We still text here and there. Um, so then I get this equipment, I get it home. Now I got to figure out like, okay, a bag of baits, back then, $3-4, I'm into this thing for a pretty penny. So it's like, all right, how do I get my return on my investment here? So then I ended up doing a little research, started talking to Mystery Tackle Box. And they're like, yeah, we'll take an order. So they ordered like a small, it was like, I think it was like 2,500 packs or 3,500 packs, which is still like a good amount, but they wanted to kind of just a test to see how we could do. And then, we came through with that, no problem. I think, my wife and my mother-in-law and everyone else helped me bag all that, and some buddies. And after a while, people didn't want to answer their phone because they didn't want to bag baits anymore.
Fingers are falling
Um,
off.
yeah, and so we got by with that, and then we ended up forming a pretty good relationship with Mystery Tackle Box, and I sold, a zillion things to him, and I paid all of my equipment off like very fast, like less than like a year after buying it. So that all kind of worked out. And then we kept rolling from there, coming out with some different designs. We've we've had stuff that sold well, that we think did well, and then we had other stuff that wasn't great. Like the investment on a production mold, you're looking anywhere from like $5,000 to $10,000 on a mold, depending on the bait. So it's like, if you pull the trigger, everybody and their mother is always like, "Hey, dude, I get the next big bait. Like you gotta," and I'm like, "It's like it takes a lot. Like, yes, you get the small prototype and you can, test it out and everything, but like if you're gonna pull the trigger on a big mold, like you better have, a good audience to buy it, or a big retail that's gonna carry it. Um,
What do you think the magic is there of having the mold? What makes a bait
what
a good bait a good
the
bait?
the bait? Well,
Yeah.
I think we all know that it's somebody goes and wins a big derby on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, like there's so many like stupid looking baits out there that people, I don't know, like you're like, what the hell is that? And then all it takes is one guy to go like wreck him one day, and it doesn't matter. It could be he wrecked him on a lake that's gin clear, and he was fishing super deep. And there's guys that are buying it that are going up to their local pond that's a mud hole, and they think they're gonna um, catch more. We were talking before about the quakey or however, I don't even know how you say it nowadays,
Yeah.
the urchin, but
Yeah.
like that bait there, it's like people don't even know what to do with it, but they know they
No.
want it.
Right. And that's I feel like we've kind of come into this turn, and this is me looking at it from like a 10-year period of time from when I started doing this to now. And it's like a grab market where you see something goes hot for a week and then it sells out, and maybe once, maybe twice, and then it's the next thing, right? And I feel like it's hard to have a staple,
Hmm.
where to me like a jig is a staple, right? We will
Hmm.
always have jigs. Fish are always going to bite a jig for some reason. And there seems to be a lot of just, I don't want to call it noise. I don't really want, I think everything has its time and place, but
Hmm.
just that constant revolving door of, this new hot bait is the bait.
No, I agree. What we try to like base our brand off of, like it's on our packaging, it says tried and true.
Sure.
So like I try to keep things simple. You know what I mean? With our lineup, you know what I mean? We have a Ned worm, we have like a Senko style, worm that like again everyone has in their boat, in their tackle box. We have a craw, we have a swim bait, we have a finesse drop shot, and then we have like a bigger version of that. Um, because like you said, there are staples, and I feel like all those baits I just named, like they have their place, and the other stuff that's I can't go too crazy on trying to have a million crazy Japanese style because they just don't always pan out. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
the investment and everything with it, um, it's not it's not cheap. And I don't know. Like there's I guess people say there's something about that bait that everyone's after, but there's a lot of people who don't even know what to do. Like they just don't know what to do with it. So it's like I think I'd rather just go flip a jig.
100%.
I guess like for at least for me, like it kind of makes sense in the fact that like I don't know, I've been throwing Carolina rig on Champlain for a long time, and I always throw the Ika tube or whatever from Yamamoto,
Hmm.
and it has like it's not hair, but it's like it's got that like the tentacles coming off the back, right? They fluff out when
Hmm.
you put them in the water, and I guess it kind of makes sense. Like it's been around for a lot longer than what people think, right? And I don't know. I try to make it make sense for myself, and it yeah, I kind of get lost down the rabbit hole. Like you said, it could get pretty darn crazy after a while. So
Yeah.
Do you think we're like more naive as an American market, and that these baits are working already tried and true somewhere else, and they just come over here and we're like, what is that?
I well, I this I don't know. So I think social media, the internet, and
Yeah,
everybody wanting to be the guy, I think makes that kind of role where everyone follows, and it's in every industry. It's quick side note, like my son plays travel baseball, like in the bat world. It's like, oh, then this is
yeah,
the next hot bat. Like, oh, you don't want your son to not have this.
yeah.
He won't be able to hit 5,000 home. Right? So it's like the same thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so now these people are like, oh shit, if I don't have this in my boat and I go fish a derby this spring, like I'm gonna lose. Like they already, I'm
Right.
gonna lose. I don't have it. He's throwing that. That's how you win. It's the same thing. Like the whole forward facing sonar. People like going nuts. Like, well, if you don't have it, you don't. Oh, you can't catch fish anymore. And yes, there's times when you catch ones that you probably wouldn't have caught or whatever. But like people just stop being like, I need that because someone else is using it, and that's the hot thing. And if you don't have that, you can't catch them.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
What?
And people they see that and they're afraid to be left out, right? Like I think there's been social experiments where like they'll just have these people line up in a line, and people just go get in line because they feel like they're missing out. So now it's like when this bait comes out and all of a sudden it's sold out, it's like, oh, like, well, I need it. So as soon as it's up there, like they click, they buy it, and they don't even know what to do with it. It's like, well, I have it. I at least have it now. I can figure that out later because I don't want to miss out. I don't want everyone else to be doing that. It's like the FOMO.
Right. We did it at the classic. There was a couple of times where there was just lines of people, and we're like, what are they doing? And we go
Right.
and you go and investigate the line.
Yeah,
Right. And there were people.
they throw you in a wood chipper at the end. It's
Yeah,
like,
throw
exactly.
everyone's
I'm
getting
like,
murdered in this line.
here's Luke and I coming up, and it's like, what are we selling? And it was they were buying some Japanese whatever,
7 out of
throwing a
10 throw
bassy.
suckers
Yeah,
were like $300 swim baits. So,
yeah. Like
thank you.
I thought this was the beef jerky line. I got in the
you're
wrong
right,
line.
exactly. That was lunch line. No, it's $300 swim bait. It's like, okay, a little out of the
Yeah,
price
but
range.
I mean, that's just what people. If something is, quote unquote hot, it's the best thing. It's this. You know what I mean? It's like people feel like if they don't get it, they're missing out.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, totally.
What? So as a guy making baits, how do you balance that? Going in on a trend versus I'm going to stay out of this one.
Um, I try to stay out of all of them.
Yeah.
Like, well,
Smart.
because like I try to be like, oh, I don't know. Um, but the urchin style bait, whatever, like I got into that we
Yeah.
can, I guess, discuss in a little bit.
Sure.
But like that one, it just kind of presented itself, and I was like, well, let me just see what's the deal with this. Again, I haven't even fished one. I People are
It's
just
nuts.
going bananas. I literally haven't even got the batteries in my boat yet. I've just been like super busy. I will fish it and I guess kind of figure it out. But from everything I've watched, read, and talked to people about, I don't know if it's gonna go anywhere. I think it might stick around.
Hmm.
I
It's
feel like it's a
interesting.
better bait for everybody over like a minnow.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because like a
Yeah.
minnow, like I saw kids when I was doing the show in Massachusetts, and they were coming up to me. We were selling. I had like tons of range roller heads, and I had kids coming up to buy them, and they were showing me the baits they were pairing them with, and I'm like, "Do you know how to fish this?" And like, do you have a boat? Like, where are you gonna? And they were like, "Oh no, the guy said just go to the bank and just." But I'm like, "Yeah, but like, it's kind of
To,
it's a different,
to a degree, right? It's the
yeah,
same concept, just you're not. It's the same but different.
right,
It's the same bait, but it's a completely different technique.
yeah."
Hey,
Um,
I get that.
I just feel like that. Well, like I feel like fishing that is, it's like forward facing and like just fishing, some deeper water and things like. It's not like something you can like bang the bank with. I
Sure.
think you could bang the bank with this thing and probably wreck them.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh
like
yeah, for sure.
you could probably rack them on a minnow from the bank too. I don't do much bank fishing these days,
Yeah.
but I just felt like some of these kids are probably going to these murky mud holes where it's like, dude, just buy a pack of my 5-inch stick baits, black and blue, and just
Yeah.
throw just Texas rig it and bomb it out there,
Yeah.
and you'll have a way better day. You know,
3.5 inch swim bait on the same jig head and just
right?
crawl it, right? you know?
Well, I feel like they overcomplicate it. Like fishing gets so overcomplicated, and then you
Yeah.
have young, like the youth, getting into it, and now they feel
Yeah.
like if they're not doing what these guys are doing, they're not doing it right, and it's completely false. It's like growing up, I just had an eagle claw rod with like a red shad culprit worm, just walking down the bank, bombing
Yeah.
that thing out, and just crawling it back in. And it's just like, you don't have to get so technical and fancy with everything. You can kind of, just dumb it down. And I've actually
Right.
dumbed it down in my boat, and it's like black jig, black worm, a couple crankbaits, and like a big, wake bait or something.
Right.
Hmm.
I mean, Luke's seen the inside of mine.
Oh yeah.
How's that thing look? White, green, and black.
Right.
Three
Yep.
I
colors.
mean, you only need so much, but there's a lot of colors I make that other people like that I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not fishing that,
Yeah.
it's not my thing.
Right.
I try to keep it simple myself when I'm fishing. It's just, very natural, black, green.
Yeah. I feel like we get it. I don't want to say shoved down our throats, but like every video you watch, right? You go on, same thing, going back to social media, the YouTube, right? It's just, here is this one with this color, and you go online, and all these baits, 17 colors, 25 colors, 30
Hmm.
different colors, and it's like, how do I, as a consumer, go and say, all right, I want this one, and I'll try this one, right? It's like, no, this is what works for me. This is what works pretty
Hmm.
much up and down the East Coast. This is what I'm rolling with.
Yeah, but I think I think companies do it for the buyer. Like they want to give them so many options. They have to like, I'll just get them all and I'll try them.
Yeah,
Um, but like at the end of the day, you really don't, the old just regular black worm. Like it's gonna catch them. It may not look as cool or as fancy as like, I just feel like I get back to like everybody wants to be the guy, right? So everyone's got
Sure.
all these things and they watch these reels and oh, if you don't tie this knot, it's not going to do exactly. And now everyone's in their head like, oh, I'm not catching him because I didn't tie that knot. So you got to, sometimes I think we overcomplicate it and just make it like just too crazy.
Sure.
I gotta tell you, the only finesse jigs that I have in my box are the ones that you have are from you. So they black and green, man. They're killer. I love them.
This
Old
one,
Tomcat.
Yeah, the
yeah,
Tomcat paired with the hollow tip worm,
awesome.
killer. It's killer. It's my go-to all year round.
Do you want me to kind of talk about our lineup and we kind of
Yeah, go through it,
just
man.
Yeah.
Whatever.
go from
This
there?
is this is. I think of this as your time. So wherever you want
Okay.
to go with it.
So yeah, we could start off with the drop shot bait that I was talking about. So that's
Yeah.
the Samata shot. So it's 3.25 inches, like I was saying earlier. It has that tail on the back. It's like a little rudder. I don't know if you guys can kind of see that.
Yeah.
It's again, it was loosely based off of the crosstail shad, which I think was pretty awesome bait when it came out. Ours is actually a little bit narrower. It's not as wide. Um, but I just thought, I mean, northeast, I mean, drop shotting. I, I don't think that's something that I wouldn't really push to like some kid who's banging the bank. I wouldn't say, hey, go drop shot this thing. But I mean, that's kind of one of our staples is the Samata shot. I caught a good one with Big JP up in Ontario. It was like a scale scrape away from 6 pounds on that. So
Nice.
it was pretty cool. That's a cool feeling catching, big, good quality fish on a product you made, that or the stories that people tell me like, hey dude, I love this bait. Like smash them on it. Or if they fish it some way that like normally, like I don't even think about rigging it that way and they end up doing really well and winning a tournament.
Yeah. That was
Um,
that bait is the first bait I ever caught with a drop shot. It was at Knops Pond in
oh,
Groton.
sick. Nice.
Yeah, on a little power shot, 3 inch little leader, the whole
Yeah.
nine. Was out there.
That's
I
sick.
probably saw like one of your videos or whatever it was, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go out there and zoop. I'm like, all right, that's pretty neat.
Yeah,
It's like the first finesse fishing I've ever done.
you saw the Samata shot, you had FOMO, you had to get some, and then
I
hey,
had to.
and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
worked out.
No, I was probably whatever. In high school it was great.
So then after making that bait, well, I think it was like several years later, I had a lot of people that said they wanted a bigger version.
Yep.
So we make this one here. This is the 5.25. I haven't given this bait really the love it deserves. I kind of made it, released it, and kind of forgot about it. I I fish it and I do pretty well with it. I have other buddies or customers that buy it that smash them. I feel like there's a lot more potential in this bait. I don't throw it enough. Some guys do power shot it, like an EWG hook, and then just heavier weight and kind of on the grass lines and things like that. Um, I think you could probably even fish this thing like a minnow, like if you had a jig head on it or something, and just kind of get it to roll a little bit. Um, it's not it's it's not a bait that I sell a ton of, but the people that do buy it buy a lot of them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you think people are afraid of that bigger drop shot bait?
I think so. So I don't know if I have time. Like I feel like I need to give it some love and maybe just go out and really experiment with it and maybe get
Yeah.
some video and some things and some different ideas to kind of open people's minds to it a little, because I think they go from seeing this little tiny thing, which is like your typical, right, like super finessey light line drop shot, and then they see that and it's named the same but it's a bigger version, but it's not necessarily you can, I mean, I've drop shot and caught fish. I don't I can't say that they were bigger class of fish. Like it wasn't like, oh, I put this on and the bigger ones automatically ate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would think maybe if you were dropping on them that like one of the bigger ones might see that and be a little bit more aggressive and be like, "Hey, what the hell's that? This like bigger thing doing down
Right?
here?" But that's not always true. There's an old saying, what elephants eat peanuts or something.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
it's like you don't always have to have this big giant thing. But yeah, no, I feel like that bait, it's cool. Like I said, I don't sell to a lot of people, but the people that buy it seem to buy a lot of them. And I've had several emails now because we've been out of stock in a lot of colors. We only have black and blue left, so that's something I have to kind of get banging out and get working on. Um, the next bait is just a craw, so it's got like a little edge on it. Swims. Um, yeah, I mean, some guys, I just, I'll flip it on, I'll cut it down, put it on the back of a jig. Some guys will fish it on a chatterbait, and they'll fish it either like, regular this way, or they'll turn it sideways, so it has more of like a fish tail, like,
Yeah.
a bait profile. So as these are kind of moving, it kind of looks like a fin from a fish. Um, these were the first two baits we came out with. Um, just because I thought they kind of checked a lot of boxes, what I mean, like your finesse, and then kind of like your jig guys and
Hmm.
flipping and things like that, where it's like, all right, if I'm going to come out with two baits to start, these are two good starter baits. You know what I mean? Everybody can fish the craw, bang in the bank. I actually had a guy that ended up working for me for a little while that found one of these on a dock, rigged it up, end up catching like a 5 pounder off the dock, and he went on my website and placed like a giant order, like every color, because on this one here it has our name on it.
Yeah.
So he was able to read it. He found it, bought it, and then sent me the thing. And I end up kind of becoming buddies with him. And he worked for me. He ran one of my machines for a while and stuff like that. So it was kind of cool story there that worked out that way. And it was a color that we discontinued because it was a gross, ugly color. And he's like, I need more of that color.
That's the one.
Right.
I
It was
can't
like
find it
it
on
was
the
kind of like
website.
a mustardy, like goldish
Yeah.
type bait. Um, we didn't make a ton of them, and they weren't like the best sellers. But I ended up finding some extras for him and gave them
Yeah.
to him. So, um,
It's one of my favorite parts too about this craw is how much length you put in the front. Like it allows it to be so versatile, where it's not, it gets a little thinner in the middle. You got a little bit of a thicker head if you want to roll something with it, but like you can cut it right down. It's
mhm.
got enough body in there. You can put a decent hook on it. It's not super thin where it's falling apart on you. Like it's just
Throw it on a
well
swim jig.
done.
Yeah, and
Real
the
nice.
appendages, if you look, we kind of I made it so it was like tapered, so they
Yeah.
weren't. Um, the original design just had them flat right into the body, and I noticed they were kind of tearing pretty easy. So we put a little bit more meat, but we had to come down to a point just so it didn't affect the action. Um, that bait, we've sold a ton of those. Mystery Tackle was on that train for like during COVID with Mystery Tackle Box. It was awesome. It was like printing money
Yeah.
That's great.
because they
That's
they were having a hard time. I think a lot of places were getting stuff from overseas, and when we were manufacturing, right, in house, we were able to make a lot of stuff for them. So they bought and sold a ton of those craws. I mean, they've been in hands all over. So
such a good success story. Like to go
uh
from melting your hands in your kitchen to
yeah,
selling baits to tackle box. Like I don't know.
yeah,
That's
no, that
gotta be
was
like
it was kind of surreal. Like when I was first getting like some of those POs and like checks clearing, and I was like, holy moly, like this is good,
it
like
worked.
um
Holy shit, it's happening.
yeah. And they actually quick side note about those guys, so they got into some like financial trouble and they weren't doing well for a while. They ended up getting bought out, and I have been talking to the lead buyer, and we're in the process of they placed another order, so we're in the process of starting to work with them again, you know what I mean? And
Awesome.
I was actually kind of happy. I think the idea of that whole thing it was a good idea. Problem is, guys like us who we know what we want, it's not the best
Sure.
thing. But
Yeah.
I think for like kids and like getting them into fishing and like trying different things and
Hmm.
stuff, I think it's a good idea. So
I think they make great gifts. Like as someone who's like, yeah, what do I get a fishing
yeah,
ring for Christmas? Right? Here's a box of baits. Go try them out. Right? Like
right. You
it's
know,
awesome.
and I keep getting back to like the youth, but like that's like here you go, like try some
Yeah.
different things and it's still relatively cheap where they don't have to go out and buy the $300 JDM,
100%.
swim bait or something,
Whoa.
just keep it simple. Some worms, some craws, and some hooks,
Yep.
The next bait we make, so this is one that it's kind of a staple in everyone's tackle box is just it's a Senko style worm. I think we do a really good job with the formula in this salt to plastic ratio. Ours is more durable than the main the Gary Yamamoto Senko. Like that's like the stick bait. Um, I think ours is more durable. I think it falls a little fat. I think it's a little heavier, but it does have a ton of action. You know what I mean? Like just wacky. Like you can bomb that thing, a country mile. Um, and with the no, I was gonna say with those we back to the colors. Like we try to keep them simple. So we have this color is called Champ. It's just like gold, green pumpkin, black, and then we have green pumpkin. Then we have black. We have black and blue because I think
That's
there's really
it.
no other reason for us to run any other colors. Like those are the only colors you really
Yeah.
need.
Was gonna say I really like that worm specifically because of the ribs
Hmm.
within the worm itself. I think that gives it a lot more action with it being heavier, you
Hmm.
know.
Yeah.
And I yeah, again, I'm sorry, I'm just sitting over here as like a little fanboy of all the baits that you're
That's
pushing
it.
out because
I
like
like that.
I I use them all. I believe in it, so.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, no, that bait there, you know what I mean? There's nothing special about it. I'm not gonna sit here and be like Oz is the greatest. I just try to make like I said before, like tried and true. Like, there's only like you can't really reinvent the wheel.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I try to make like good quality baits at a fair price, try to keep the packaging nice and provide good customer service. I love fishing. I love talking about fishing. So like going to shows or doing, podcasts like this it's always fun. So that's like, it's like more enjoyable, like just talking to people about it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, the next bait, which is, I think by far my favorite bait in the lineup. This bait kind of came to because I was making, I get, so the next bait is the hollow tip worm, but it wouldn't have really been here unless I had this bait to start. Because this bait, I had one that I used to make without salt that would float. And then what I would do is I would cut it here and I would just put it on a Ned rig. Well, so I started dabbling, messing around with it, and I took like a small drill bit and I started clearing out the end. And then I stick a nail in there, clear some more out, put a drill bit in there. So I got it to kind of have like that, tail
Yeah.
with a hollow section in it. Um, and then I was like, oh, I can probably make something even cooler. So that's when this bait came out. Um, this bait, I would say the best thing about it is I think it's like the secondary action with this bait. So when you rig it on a Ned head, like I have a 1/6 tungsten head that we carry that I rig it on. I fish the six no matter how deep or shallow. I just think it's a good size. But when you throw this bait out there and it lands, all the air and everything gets stuck in these ribs, but also in that air pocket. So it stands up and it has like this very subtle, like as it stands up, this tail just kind of like flutters. Like I have some videos on Instagram and stuff, and you can see. And I think it's that secondary action that helps it get bit. because the thing with, it falls down in the water and then it lands, and then the curious smallmouth or largemouth, they come up to it, and then it kind of sits up, and this tail is just ever so kind of like wagging,
Hmm.
and so it almost seems like it's alive. It's just kind of doing
Yeah.
this, and that's when the fish will eat it, because it's like the TRD. It's, that's a great bait. It lasts a lifetime and everything else like that. But when it falls, it just boom, boom, and it's just there.
Yeah.
The idea with this is like, everyone says like, oh, with a Ned, you want a do nothing bait. Well, this is like a do nothing bait that does a little something at the end just to kind of get
Exactly.
them,
Yeah.
you know.
And that's every bait that you have sitting there. Everything does something underwater. You might not
Mhm.
realize it when you throw it, but like every bait that you put in the water has some sort of unique kind of thing to it. And there's a time and place, but that just like you said, it just sits there.
That's
Mhm.
why I love it on the back of a jig, man. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
you can see it in the water when it sits there. That jig, it
Standing
plants
right up.
itself,
Yeah.
and then it just
Yeah, and
ever.
any bit of like, current, boat traffic, wind, anything, it just that it's not doing this. It's just like that, just a little,
Hmm.
just enough to move. It's almost like it's like
Yeah.
breathing or something, right? So now the fish is like, what's going on? Like that thing's like
What,
still
what,
like
what is
it's
that?
just chilling there, like it. I better eat it. And the idea is like, they've done studies that like with crayfish, like if they remove one claw, they'll eat it. No claws, they'll go right after it. So like when this thing, if you're like ripping it through, like I fish this thing like the exposed Ned, like over in grass and stuff, and I'll just like rip it through, and then it comes through the water like when a crayfish kind of like when they do, like they look like a little bullet,
Yeah.
like it
Yep.
comes through like that. So but now when it lands, it has no claws, so it
Yeah.
looks like a crayfish with no claws, but like how do you sell a crayfish with no claws to, they'll be everyone be like, dude, what's this thing's missing claws, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now like that's what this looks like, but
Hmm.
it doesn't have like the crayfish pinchers and the tentacles and all that. But to the fish, that's what I think they're seeing. That's what I think they think it is, like a little crayfish darting away, and then when it lands, it postures up without any claws, you know.
Huh. I've never heard that. That's pretty slick. I like
Yeah.
that.
The We did upgrade the packaging on these. I do like it much better. I do wish I did this right from the jump. They still go in the bag, which I don't know what I did with the bag here, but I can just put it in this one. But they still do go in the bag, no problem. But then some guys will get them and they'll take these out, and then they can just store them in like a box, whatever,
Is
Yeah.
that
Um,
is that like they're all formed in? Like I have this one.
Clear the
yeah,
bottom.
no. So that's the older version.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
this one here, now when you open it up, like these were designed. I had a company make them for me. I sent them the baits, and so these things just, they just sit right in
Yep.
there.
100%.
And they just keep the baits looking nicer and neater. And it's not really like super important with, things that aren't swim baits, but I think with the amount of companies out there and the competition, it's like a lot of people have gone to clamshells, and it's just what looks nicer. I will say when I started doing this, I did notice. I noticed return. So customers would buy this bait on the website, get it, and then I almost immediately come back and buy more, opposed to the other tacos,
Yeah.
which they
I,
seemed a little bit messier in there. People that are gonna fish it, they're not gonna care, but just the general crazy um super anal guy like gets this and he's like, oh, these are neat and clean and like awesome, like looks like a high-end product. Fish is, they all fish like a high-end, but it's like now you gotta look the part too. So that's why we kind of went that route with those.
I think there's a big push too into. I think there used to be guys that were like the organized type, and I think like the Aaron Martins of the world where everything was like, and I think there were very few and far between. I think there's a lot more of it now. I
Hmm.
think everyone's got a storage container, a box, like the days of like the zip throwing crap in the Ziplocs. Like everyone's got a
Um,
nice, you know.
no, I'm a
Are,
mess.
are you
Yeah.
still?
Ah, dude.
Even with your sweet little, you got the sweet little zip bags.
Dude, well, my problem is I have a mess in those bags, and that's like my dirty
Okay,
little secret. I hide them in
got
there.
it.
So I
Okay.
have a good friend of mine, Chris, who's like insane about just everything. Like you go to his house, his tackle. We joke that like all of his like stuff in his boat is like by alphabetical order.
Yeah.
Like he's like he indexes them. Like I go over there and I'm like, oh dude, I gotta like put an order in. I need this certain treble hook. And he's like, which one are you looking for? And he's like,
Right here.
and he pulls out
Roll, it's a
like a
Rolodex.
massive case, and he's like, "Here you go." He's like, "Here's six, you know, like, and love him, like one of my good friends, whatever. But like,
Yeah.
he's like, and then he comes on my boat, and I'm like trash man. I'm like, I swear I had drop shot weights here somewhere, and like sees the
Yeah.
box in the down in the rod
Check between the
locker, and
seat.
right. So like and every year I start off, I'm like, I'm doing it this year. I'm
Yep.
organized. I go crazy. I got everything in my living room. I'm organizing everything. And it's like, a weekend and my boat's a disaster. On the
That's
outside,
funny.
it looks great. It's nice and clean and everything. But deep down below,
Yeah.
it's a
Don't
gigantic
open
mess.
the compartments.
Right. Don't open it. It's like when I was a kid, I just shove everything under my bed and tell my mother my room was clean.
Wicked funny.
Um, and then the next bait after that is the Vixen.
Yep.
A little swim bait that we came out with. Again, what I mean, Northeast, what I mean, the little swim bait on a ball jig, you can't really beat it. This bait, when we were designing it, I was planning on making it like as soft as possible. Like everyone's like always like, hey, swim baits, you want them like super, super soft. And we ended up making this in more of like a little bit of a firmer blend of plastic. Because when we were making it really soft, the tail was kind of more of like like, those guys out in front of like car dealerships that just kind of, they blow around, you
Yeah,
know?
oh
Like,
yeah.
so the tail was just kind of like doing this, and so I firmed it up. So
Mhm.
now, as it was even on the slowest of retrievals, it gets the body roll because there's enough rigidity in the tail where it's moving, but it's making the whole body
Mhm.
roll with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even that's just a regular. We have like a tungsten ball jig that we sell. Nothing special. You don't have to tie any special loop knot or anything. I just tie like a regular Palomar on there, and the thing will roll like really good when you're swimming it in. It looks really like really lifelike. Um, so that's like part of making baits too, is like trying to figure out not just because you think it has to be really soft or firm or whatever it is, you have to really play around with it and get it to work the right way. You know what I mean? And not all plastics created equal. You know what I mean? There's certain stuff that we sometimes have to do to ours to make it a little softer, a little firmer, and just try to dial it in just right.
What goes into that? Like how much? There's got to be just a ton of trial and error.
Yeah, it's what I mean. I have different blends that we get from manufacturers. Like we
Mhm.
get big 55-gallon drums,
Okay.
and so I'll get some stuff that's like they call it like medium, and then there's other it might be soft, but then there's like you can add some softener to it, or you can maybe do like, hey, a little a gallon of this and 4 gallons of this, and what I mean, you kind of got to mess around with it in smaller versions, like little cups, and then I have like the
Yeah.
prototypes, and then you kind of figure out what works best. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And then I have like a crazy like recipe book that uh it looks like a madman writes in it. It's just like crazy stuff, and cross that out. That didn't work. Back to
Yeah.
that because um
Random
but
math equations on the top.
yeah, yeah, you know what I mean. It's like the Colonel's recipe, like
Right. Special blend of herbs and spices.
yeah. My wife always jokes like, if something happens to you, she's like, who do I call about all this shit? Like,
Yeah. Right.
you know what I mean? Like it's like I'm like, well, I have a few numbers of people not to call because they'll probably give you like pennies for it, but they'll tell you they're
Right.
helping you out.
Right. Here, I'll take care of it for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a couple good buddies that I would trust to hopefully
Sure.
actually get some return if I die. So,
Right.
um, that swim bait, we ended up, we did a clamshell for this, and this was a pretty cool clamshell that we came up with. So, we got 5 in the back and then 3 in the front, and it has a little divider in there when you open it up, and that way we could get 8 baits into this and still get it in our bag. Where if we didn't do the double, I mean, you'd only get 5 in there. I don't know. I try to keep the quantities as high as I can in the packs. Like the little Samata shot, I mean, this bait here, you get 15 per pack, which is like unheard of these days in the bait
Yeah, you
world.
get 8, right?
Eight's
Most
like
like 8.
max, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, we tried on that. I could fit 15 in there in that little tray, and I'm like, yeah, the 15 works. And honestly, it's so little amount of plastic that it's, what I
Sure.
mean, there's really no reason you can't put 15 in there and charge will be charged. Um so that those there are, our soft plastics that we make in house. We did just recently start carrying this guy.
Yeah.
So these, it's no surprise what we don't make these. This is like the elastomer, the TPE, stretchy plastic. We have these made for us overseas. This was something I know you were asking earlier about, like how to know when to jump on a trend and not. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I just saw these and I was like, well, let me see what this is all about. We released 400 on our website and we were sold out very fast.
I was gonna ask you
Um,
about.
Yeah,
yeah,
instantly.
we sold out very fast. Well, first I only put like just some up because I literally, when we get them, we have to build the box and do all this stuff, and I hadn't even like put one together yet. And so I said, let me just put some on there, and I made a quick post, and it was like gone, and I was like, all right, I got to put more on there. So I ended up putting all of them on there eventually, and they sold fast. And we're selling them. They're $8.99. It's a good quality bait. People are buying them up, but like we were saying, like there's people that have purchased these from me, and then I get a message 5 minutes later, like, what do I do with this?
That's so good. I love
Right. So like
that.
people don't even know what they're getting. They just don't want to
Yeah.
miss out. It's just that FOMO of like, hey, I need to have that. Everyone else has it. It's the hot new bait.
Sure.
I'm gonna get it. You know what I mean? Like
Uh,
you guys
uh,
waited in line and you didn't even know sheep to slaughter.
no,
Just
see what's up, right?
just standing in line.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's what I mean. It's everyone's catching them all over the country, I guess, on them. Everyone keeps talking about how great they are. So we got on the train, and I don't know how long it'll last. We're gonna keep carrying them until we can't sell them,
Yeah.
and then go from there. I'm sure I'll probably get some crap, you know what I mean, because we're like a whole like made in the USA brand, but there's certain items that it is what it is, and if we can outsource and have another company make them for us at a fair price, and we can make it work for us, we'll do that. Um, so that kind of like segues me into some stuff that we don't make, like we were talking, the Tomcat jig, just a little finesse football tungsten jig. Again, it's no secret these are made overseas. um, it's just one of those things, I mean, I dabbled in the jig world for a little bit, and I actually had a company in the US they would make all of our heads and paint them, and then we would skirt them and do all of that. And I was right back to where I was at the beginning of the plastic world, and I'm like spinning my wheels, like trying to keep up with making jigs, and the margins were so slim, and I'm just like, it doesn't make sense. I'm like, I'll just leave the jigs to the jig companies. Like I'm not it's not really worth my time. And I have guys still to this day like, dude, that Arky jig you had, like that hook on there was unbelievable. And it's like, yeah, but I just can't, I mean, it just didn't make sense to me. for doing that. And then there's tungsten. Well, that we'll get into tungsten prices here in a second, but like even some of the jigs, like overseas, like some of those tungsten flipping jigs, some of them are bullshit. Like the hook sock, and some of them that they're not always the best quality. When it comes to a flipping jig, I liked that like short shank, it was a Gamakatsu, like good heavy wire hook.
Yeah,
Um, and but I couldn't get them to make me anything with that. I don't know. It was kind of weird. And so I just was like, I'm not even going to go that route. I just won't carry jigs. And I got a lot of flack for it.
sure,
Um, but it wasn't, if I was selling a zillion,
sure.
then if my hands are bleeding, so be it, and you just keep going. I was selling enough when I had them. I do shows, I'd sell out and stuff like that, but I wasn't selling enough where it made sense for me to be like killing
No,
myself to be making them.
it's,
Now
it's not worth it, right?
I'll just get some heads and tie up some stuff for myself, my own
Sure.
personal use and things like that. Um, Another thing we carry, just the tungsten Ned.
Yeah.
We just carry one size. We keep it simple. It's just a 1/6. I catch fish in 35 feet of water to a foot of water in this thing. We just carry it because we have, the hollow tip worm, and this pairs great with it. You know what I mean? So it makes sense, and for us to carry that, those are kind of just like add-on afterthought purchases.
Sure.
I'm not trying to sit here and say like our Ned head's the game changer, the best in the game. It's just something. We were buying them for a really good price. Now everything is through the roof. Like, so unfortunately, like I'm not pulling the trigger. And I talked to him a few weeks ago, and like the prices are just so high. It doesn't even make sense for me. Again, it was like, hey, cool jig, finesse football jig. Everyone's dragging one around. It catches them. Um, okay, we can get this awesome jig with a cool, good keeper, good hook, good skirt material at a really good price. We can make a couple bucks on it, and we can, pair it up with, the hollow tip worm. You fish this, like they work
Hmm.
together. It's like peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
But once the pricing got so high, it's just like I'm not trying to do
No.
that. You know what I mean? And I just, what I mean. I don't know if anyone has the following. I don't know if I definitely don't have the following to be selling this thing for like, $10, $12 or whatever.
People are doing it, right?
No, I know they are.
Yeah.
I just, what I mean. It's just, I don't,
It's
I
tough.
think I think the whole thing's silly.
Yeah,
I think
I agree.
we should all fish lead,
Yeah,
but what I mean. I know this with lead laws and stuff, people
sure.
are pretty crazy about that. So
That's one of those, like, I went the other day and was just shopping around, and it's like I can't spend $12 on a jig that I'm going to lose.
oh yeah,
Right? Like
if you
I'm
fish
gonna
a
go for
jig
three, four,
enough,
five of them.
you're gonna lose them.
Right? Like it's I'm looking at what could easily be $60 a day. Right? If you're
Yeah.
getting into some junk, right?
Yep.
So it's like hopefully
Yeah,
they
you
come
want
back
to talk
down.
about being miserable. Imagine like you come back, you had a rough day fishing, plus you lost like $70 in jigs,
Yeah.
It's like like it's
and
it's
you
not supposed to be like that.
you burnt another 120 in fuel.
Right? 120 in truck gas and boat
Right,
gas and
you're right. It's like
yeah.
it's just it's crazy. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know when that stuff's gonna come back down. I don't think anytime
Uh,
soon.
nope. I don't know the inside of it, but I'm sure everything else that gets expensive, it never really comes back. So
No, it
uh,
never does. It never gets fixed.
you know, but
Hopefully it does. What I mean? Hopefully it comes back down. Like I said, I love that jig. I fish it a lot. I know a lot of people like it. And I was doing those shows. I mean? I was selling them, $5 a whack. Guys were just
yeah,
grabbing handfuls of them. I bet a lot of people wish they got more handfuls of them when they did.
can't
Yes, I do.
can't beat it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to put them. Guess I'm gonna have to take them out of the boat and put them on the shelf.
Right?
Start sneaking
It's
them away.
it's gonna be like the penny, right? They got
Exactly.
start
You're like
saving those
15 or
pennies. They'll
20.
be worth more.
Let's. What do you think the hardest part of running a tackle company is?
Um. Well, I would say I think nowadays, I think I touched on this before, there's like so many companies, quote unquote, that just pop up. And I don't care how small they are. After a while, everything just becomes so overly saturated. And then I think, let's just say every one of those companies, they get like five people to use their things, right? Now you have, you know, whatever, 10,000 of these companies that pop up, and there's 50,000 customers that go. So, like, I, I just think the oversaturation of the fishing lure world, like the smaller end, you know what I mean? I'm just kind of just a dude who makes cool stuff, and I feel like there's a lot of that. It's hard wearing a lot of hats too. Like my wife does all like the bookkeeping and stuff, but like
Nice.
I'm the guy that like does like the manufacturing and the social media, and I try to wear everything, and it's like I'm just a
Sure.
small business, and we do all right with it, but it's like
Yeah.
I'm in no place to be like hiring, everybody wants $1 zillion to do everything, you know what I mean? Everyone thinks that's
Sure.
like, and I think some people approach me too thinking that I'm like Zoom, like it's like, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
I don't have, hundreds of employees and all this stuff here. Um, I guess that's a compliment. I could take that as a compliment because
Sure.
they see me as that.
Right.
But I think the hardest part, I don't know, it's kind of all hard. It's hard. It's a volume based business. Like you need to do a lot of volume. You need to make stuff that stands out, so it's a little different. But at the same time, you can't go too crazy because then people just aren't going to touch it at all.
Sure.
So I think, I guess, a long answer to a short question is it's kind of all hard. You know what I mean? It's like running any business, but it's like you have to. I own another business. It's a service business. People come in, they use it, and they leave, and it's just like that's it. Where this is like now you have to like design a bait or whatever, or figure out what you want. Now you have to make it in the colors, and now you have to push it out and advertise it, and then hope somebody catches a big bag on it, and they tell somebody about it because then they're super secretive and they don't want to tell anyone about the bait. I'm like, killing me. So there's just a lot of stuff that goes into it, especially where it's like I'm kind of like a one man show. I've
Yeah.
had people that I've hired that have run machines and things like that to help me out, but for the most part, I kind of do it all. So I'd say the whole thing is, it's tough. It's messy.
Yeah.
It's dirty, like making the stuff, and
Yeah.
it's heavy. The molds. And it's a lot of like labor that goes into it. But you know,
So I got a little question. If you care to indulge, is there any ideas down the line of new
so we're
stuff
actually, yeah,
in-house?
we're going to be releasing a flippin' bait soon,
That's
and
cool.
it may or may not be a more generic beaver style.
Yeah.
I have a shit ton of drawings and ideas of other stuff I want to do, but we might go like a traditional like beaver type bait, because I just think I don't know, I think a lot of people still flip and are still catching them on that way, so I think we can kind of give uh kind of twist on it, some different colors, some swirl, cool, like different looking colors on that bait. So that's kind of in the works right now. um Big JP is dying for me to make a minnow. uh,
I could see that.
Time for you to make a tube, man.
a
I
tube.
I fish a tube a
Stuff
lot.
breaks off the tube.
Yeah, I like fishing a tube. So a tube can be there's a lot of work that goes into it. So when they make
Yeah.
them, after they make them, then they have to cut them and do all that. So it's, I mean, there's a lot of great companies out there that make a great tube.
Oh,
So I think you're
100%.
yeah, I think you're
100%. Yeah.
It's good deflection.
Yeah, no, and
Yeah.
I can appreciate, like, there's a lot of great companies, whether they're small or big, and a lot of cool stuff that comes out, you know what I mean? I don't want to be like that guy that like just is always making a like, hey, this is like a knockoff of this, whatever. But
Sure.
like sometimes like when it comes to like this, like it's kind of a no brainer. Like,
Is
and
what it is.
everybody makes one. There's tubes that everyone kind of makes. So sometimes you have to stay on that, like, hey, these are kind of baits that are here and people are always looking for. Like the amount of people that have been like, hey, you make like a beaver style bait or something to flip, and and like I guess you could with this really, but it's not really, what I mean? That's not really like I
No,
guess,
thicker
some
bodies.
yeah, like a wider
Yeah.
body on it.
Yeah.
Um and the amount of like grass and stuff that we have around here that we fish, and it's there's really no reason for us to not carry like a beaver style bait. So that's definitely next up for us. That's breaking news here.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Um yeah, no, and
I think
I
JP's
had
on to
if
something.
I had an unlimited amount of like money, time, and everything else, like
Yeah.
I have like a bunch of crazy ideas like on paper and drawings that like I'm always like I'm not an artist by any means, but like I'm just always kind of sketching and drawing, and hey, that bait looks kind of cool. Like take some of that and some of this and make some of this, um and you can get small prototype molds fairly cheap, $500, whatever, and um but 500 bucks, 500 bucks, 500 bucks, 500,
Adds
like,
up quick.
right, it starts adding up until you find one that's a home run, and then it works out. You know what I mean? I don't know. I have a lot of ideas, but I don't really have the time, money, or effort to
Sure.
launch all 25 of them.
Where
Fair
where
enough.
do you see where do you see the industry going in 5 years?
Hopefully in a better direction than it's in right now.
Yeah. Agreed.
I don't know. I don't want to sound like an old grumpy old man, but it's just like it's almost like it's pricing a lot of people out, whether it's, buying a boat, electronics,
Yeah.
fucking $20, wacky wall whack is like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it just like everything is like, and I know like everything nowadays is just more expensive than it ever was. I just feel like everything has to be like this high end, this, and this. And it's, I don't know. I kind of like it to get back to like people just fish a worm, just fish the basic shit and go out and wreck them.
Right. That's I think you see like people are almost surprised now when that happens. Like when a tournament isn't one on a minnow looking at forward facing
Right.
sonar and it's one on a curly tail grub or it's one flipping
Oh, that
a
was a riot. People were like all of a sudden buying up. I'm like, dude, where have you been? You know what I
right.
mean?
Right. That's another one. It's like
I think
you
like
know
I think Jesus himself was catching them on a curly tail grub.
had to be curly tail
Right.
grub, probably a white one.
Right. Right.
You
You know.
know,
Well,
and then
even
when
in
it
the last
happens,
like three tournaments, like the grub, Christy just won on the covert spinnerbait. Like
Hmm.
how how long has that been around? And then I see today that they're blowing up Lee Livesey on a pink buzzbait. I'm like, dude,
it's
Hmm.
it's a buzzbait.
oh,
And I'm not one of these guys like anti forward facing and all that. And like where I was going with like less of all, like it just
sure,
seems like it everybody like these guys. I fish these like Thursday nighters, and it's like these guys that they have no idea what any of these like, and then they're like, I gotta get like, do I need this to win? It's like,
no,
dude,
Hmm.
just go out and fish, man. Like,
yeah.
the grass that holds fish, and go over there and flip that,
That,
and
that's what it is. It's like I feel like there's so much of it, and it's all these because we have them up here. You've been up here, right? You have these giant grass lines, right?
Yeah.
And if you know where the winning size fish are, you're typically going to be okay throwing at them, well, no matter
Mhm.
what it is, right? Yeah, every once in a while there's some sneaky shit going on, but
Yeah,
being around the winning fish is being around the winning fish.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about it before. Just like if you are not in a point where you are fishing and you can get all of this information coming at you, it becomes overwhelming very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Where I have a forward-facing sonar and I have my 2D and a map and a side scan and a this and the weather, and I'm trying to figure out water temperature, and like it's too much.
Yeah, it's just a lot, but I just think that's the world we're in today.
Yeah,
There's guys that, like craft beer or whatever. It's just like, and they're like nerding out on that, and it's like
yeah,
the exact, like everything's like so scientific and this and that, and like
right,
that's just the world we're in, and people just dive in, and it's like I think the internet has a lot to do with that, where you get all this information, then you have these groups of people that get together and they figure this
sure,
out and that, and so it's just like everything's like so technical now with like just everything. I mean,
right.
it's
Like
it's youth
if I am,
sports. Kids are crazy. Everyone's just doing everything so like just it's like too much.
yeah, it's like I don't know how if I'm looking from the outside in, right? If I'm just trying to get started or whatever, I don't know how I navigate any of it.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. When I
It's
had kids
nuts.
coming over to the
Yeah,
booth and they're showing me these like minnows and this and that, and I'm like, "What are you throwing this on? Like, do you know what line?" And the guy's like, "I don't know."
ah,
He
right,
has no
yeah,
idea, right? And it's just like, dude, you're making this way harder than it has to be.
yeah,
Hmm.
Grab a couple packs of these, put this hook in there, throw it out,
right,
and then over time, what I mean? If you let like the natural progression happen, you start understanding a little bit more, and it's like, oh,
sure,
I can. Oh, that's what a bite feels like. Oh,
yeah,
okay. Like, and then you start understanding. Oh, okay, this time of year they're probably not in this area, and then
hundred
they
percent,
go over here. Yeah, and so like you kind
yeah,
of where I feel like now people get in and they just nerd out online, and then
Yes.
they
sure,
just regurgitate everything they hear, and it's just like they didn't go through that natural like building up to whatever.
yeah,
They went online, they figured all this stuff out, they spent all this money, and they might have gotten pretty good at fishing and done it all,
yeah,
but they didn't like it wasn't like that natural. It's like if someone's dieting, they just like crash diet and they don't eat, and they but then eventually just kind of all cuz so I feel like once those people do hit a certain spot somewhere, they're not going to have like the knowledge and understanding to because they're going to have to go back to wherever they found this information and try to find out more to get past that.
yeah.
Where like if you have a natural build, a love, like I just grew up fishing and just messing around with it and like just kind of self-taught, just bang, and then just everything kind of got a little bit more
Yeah,
advanced and it was like very slow. Now everything's so fast. It's like
yeah.
everything's
Instant.
so fast and so technical right out of the gate. And it's just like I think that's not great for someone learning.
No, and like I think you miss so much of that hand. Like everyone that's any worked up, whatever, working through a trade, right?
Hmm.
You know, you lose unless you're like touching it and you're doing it, and it's that hands-on like repetition and repetition.
Muscle memory.
You lose a little bit. Like
Hmm.
you can have the minnow, you can have the whatever the bait is doing whatever, but if you can't make a perfect cast on these
Hmm.
fish, it doesn't matter. If
Hmm.
you could have the skipping bait. If you can't skip it under the dock, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter, right? It's
Right.
all you need to. The guys that are being very successful they're putting it all together, obviously, but like focus on that. Like same thing. We have I've had a couple people reach out to me and be like, "What should I be doing?" Like you should be practicing your fundamentals and just over and over and over and over.
It's
It's
like anything in life, right?
right.
When you learned how to ride a bike as a kid,
Sure.
you didn't go watch YouTube and say, okay, you take your left foot and you push this one here and there, and then you just take, it's like you went
Right.
out there and you just did it and you fell over and then you got
Yeah.
up and you tried it again.
Yeah.
So that's how I
It's
felt when I got into like making baits and
yeah.
just smoking out my house and doing all that shit.
it's
Because then I kind of learned that. So now I kind of get like grumpy old man pissed off. It's like there's all these
sure.
pages, and these guys go on there like, "Hey, I got this and this, and this person wants to buy 10,000 of these, and what do I do?" It's like, why do they want to buy 10,000 from you if you don't even know what the hell you're doing? You know what I mean?
right.
Like, you got to just go out and you got to burn some shit and screw some shit up and do all
Yeah.
that in order to like to be figure it all out. That's how you get better at anything. It's just experimenting with it and just practicing.
Couldn't agree more.
So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of too many people want to take the short way, and that's what I think the internet and social media, and it's just like we could all right now, if we all wanted to become, jugglers, or you know what I mean,
Sure.
yo-yo guy, you know what I mean, like you could literally, we could get off this call, start researching it, ordering whatever we need it, and by next week be talking whatever that is, and like fool somebody that's what we do, you know what I mean?
Right. 100%.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the world we live in now. It's just
Wild world.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely hope I hope people don't lose the. This is a conversation I have with my dad all the time about this because it's even then I have days like it where it's like trying to get a podcast going. I'm trying to be out in the water. I'm trying to be trying to make some content for myself. Like trying to cut into the market. Like just like you said, there's 1,001 people out there. There's 1,001 people giving their opinion on something, right? And he just said like, if it's not fun, why are you doing it?
Right.
And like every once in a while, it's like I feel like I have all this stuff going on. I gotta fix the boat, gotta do here, gotta do. Like, just have fun, and then the rest of it will come.
Yeah.
You gotta work
I
hard
would say
too.
with
But
with Samatis, like I'd say like probably like the last, I don't know, like maybe almost a year, I kind of like, I didn't really take like a hiatus. Everything was still rolling and stuff, but like I was just so busy with other stuff. And then just recently I've gotten back into the shop a lot more and making, other stuff. Like we made, I can make a zillion baits, so we make a ton of stuff and I can stock it
sure,
and all that. But I had kind of been away from like the manufacturing for a little bit, and then I had recently got back in, and I was like, "This is awesome! Like that's what I
yeah,
love. Like
Yeah.
I
found
love
it.
getting in there, getting messy, figuring out a new color, like everything working, and just like get the music like." And it was like almost like a kind of step away. Not really. I didn't close it. We were still selling stuff or whatever. I was
Mm-hmm.
super busy, like with just other stuff in my life. But then once I got back in there, I was like, "Oh man, like yeah, this is sick." Like I forgot how much I like this
Right,
stuff.
100%.
So
Right.
sometimes
So
you need a step away, or just not. I don't want to. I think step away is not the right word. It's just kind of like easing up a little.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's I don't think this this space is not any different than anywhere else, right? Burnout happens, right?
Hmm.
I feel like people can take on way too much, and we talk about it where I work all the time. It's just like burnout. Guys are doing too much, right? So no different, right? You gotta have fun with it. You gotta enjoy what you're doing. If you're not,
Yeah,
well, what are you doing?
right. Fishing.
Go figure out why you enjoy it.
If you're going out fishing, and you're coming home miserable every day, and it's like you should probably just take a step back a little, and you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
you
And
got
like
it.
we can all be honest with ourselves, like the zillion guys that bass fish in the world, right? Like there's only some that are going to be like successful and make a true living. And even some guys who are fishing at a high level doesn't mean they're making a living. They're like maxing
No.
out credit cards and doing all that. And there's nothing
Yeah.
against, like that's awesome. Like that they're out doing what they love, and it's they're living the dream. But it's like it's not always not it's so slim of the amount of people that are
Yeah.
like just actually living a good quality life and not like in any financial stress or anything,
That was Latimer came out with a good video this week about that. It was like the 12 things or 15 things, whatever. Like no one tells you. And it was a pretty good watch. It was like 40 minutes, a little longer, but it's touched on a lot of that.
They say the quickest way to make $1 million as a bass fisherman is to start with 2 million.
Yeah, right. It's pretty good.
Fact.
So
But what else you
cool.
got, Luke?
No, really, man. I enjoyed talking shop with you, man.
Yeah,
I
I
love
hope I
that was
everything you
was
awesome.
said.
I hope I gave you guys enough
No,
information.
that was great.
I start talking and sometimes I go off a beaten
No,
path a little.
that's the good part about this kind of layout is
Oh,
we can just talk and hang out. So
I love it
I
all.
Yeah, I
certain
try to not to be a like a wet blanket and have a little personality. So
no, it's great, man. Well, we super appreciate you getting on. Good luck
Sure.
this year. I'm sure we will
awesome.
cross paths soon, out and about.
Yeah,
So
no, this is great. Yeah. So till next time.
cool. I'll yeah, if you got the social media, obviously go ahead, check them out. I'll post all the links to where you can find all the stuff we talked about today and where we can see all the stuff that Jamie's working on. So,
Awesome.
awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.